Hey, in this video, I'm going to show you how to build a VS Code extension using JavaScript. So we are going to start by installing all the necessary packages and setting up a new project. Then we're going to build a simple extension that translates any text to any other language. And once we've done that, we're going to publish that extension. Let's just get straight into this video. The first thing we need to do is to make sure that you have Node.js and Git installed. Once you know you have that installed, then we're going to install Yeoman and the VS Code extension generator using this command. So this is the official documentation for creating your first extension, but I'm going to walk you through all of that. So the first thing we need to do is just to copy this command, come into your terminal and run it. So that is going to install the Yo and the generator code package. So once you have that installed, we're going to move forward. So that's going to take a while to install, and I'm going to come back when it has installed. So everything has been installed successfully, and once you have that installed, what you need to do now is to create a new extension. To do that, you run yo code. And that command is going to prompt all the options to create your new extension. So it's asking us if we want to use TypeScript or JavaScript. So for this video, we want to use JavaScript. And the name of our extension, so let's just name it Easy Translator. And yeah, we'll give it that identifier, and let's leave the description blank for now. And for the JS config.json, we pick no and no. I want to use npm, and that is now going to create the whole extension and all the files, basically the boilerplate in the location that we were in this command line. So if I scroll up here, I was in a folder called VS Code Toots, so it's going to create that extension in that folder. So let's scroll down and ask us the question, do you want to open the folder with VS Code extension? So we want to do that, so let's just click yes. So as you can see, it opened everything up for us, and if I get rid of this, and everything here is working, and this is the main file where we're going to be doing all of our coding, which is the extension.js file. So now that we have that done, let's go straight to the next step. So now that everything is set up, let's go ahead and test this extension. So what you need to do is to click on Fn F5. So once you click on that, it's going to go ahead and run that extension in here. And right now it's blank, but to run it, we just open the command palette and then run this hello world command. So as you can see, it says hello world from Easy Translator. If we come back here, that's what it's been asked to do. So it says VS Code.window.show information message hello world from Easy Translator. Let's say we change this to hi guys, subscribe, and let's rerun that. Once we come back here and open the command palette, to open this you have to type Command Shift P if you're on a Mac, and if you're on a Windows, type Control Shift P. So then run that, and you see that it changes that. So that's the basic stuff of what that does. So now we know all of that is working. What we just want to do now is to go ahead with building our very simple translator app. So to do this, I'm actually using an API, Microsoft API, and I'm just going to paste in a block of code right now. And let's give a bunch of space so we can make that neat. So this is the code that we are going to use. It's using this to basically send this text right here. We're gonna ask for a response in German. So this is English, and then once we send it, it's gonna give us a response in German. If we scroll down here where we see 2, this DE represents German. So it depends on whatever language you want to translate it to. If it's, let's say, French, you put the sign there, or whatever other language, but for this tutorial we're using German, so we keep that. Normally you should basically use like a variable and ask the user what he wants to translate the language to, but for this we're just keeping it simple and leaving it at that. But if you want to take it further, you can easily do that. So once we know we have that, this basic API request is going to send this text and then get us the translation of this text in German. So, and that is going to save it as this does response text. It's actually going to be like a JSON format, and we're just going to basically show the developer that JSON format, so it's going to do whatever it wants to do with it. What we can do right now is just to take this code right here that says VS Code that shows information. Let's comment that out. But right here where we are returning a response, where you see this, as you can see, it already says VS Code or Windows or show information this.response. So if we run this, let's say we run this now, and then we come here and run that again. In here you can see that it shows us, let's enlarge that, basically it gives us like a JSON response, and this is what the user, the developer or whoever is using this extension we get. So then you can use the JSON response to do whatever he wants to do. So this is what we want to show to the user, or what we want to return to the user basically. So this was the English text, but this is the translated version in German. So that's what we did. And as I said earlier, this is a Microsoft translator, but I use Rapid API to, you know, send a post or message to it. And once we have that done, what we just want to do is to take it a little bit further, because right now we have this and we can basically say this is our extension because it works, but we want to, you know, make it at least a little bit more complex than it is. So right here we have text. This is just like an hard-coded text, but we want to collect a text from the user, and then want to replace that text with the translation of that text basically, but in this type of format. So let's say a user right here says I am Tommy. Once the user selects that and then run our command, what we want to do is to replace that text with all of this. So the old JSON response is going to tell it the detected language of that text, the language that text is, and then the translation in German. So let's go ahead and do that. So the first thing that we want to do is to have, so right here where we have this, let's quickly come here. So let's have cons and let's say editor. So I use GitHub Copilot and I might get a lot of recommendations. So as you can see, it recommended this, and this is exactly what I want to type. So const editor equals VS Code or Windows.active text editor. What this does is that it basically gets the current, like this current page or this current tab that we are in this editor. So once we have that, what we want to do is to get the selected text in that particular tab. So we have this tab, right? But what we want to do is when we select this, we want to get just that text that is selected, because we might have, like, let's say bunch of text, and let's say we select only this and we want to translate this. So we want to basically just select only that text and store it in a variable. So to be able to do that, we need to have another variable, and then we are gonna name this selected text. And what we're gonna do is to just say editor dot selection. So once we have that, we would then want to get the text that is in that selection. So what we just want to do is to say const text is equals to editor.document. As you can see, GitHub Copilot recommended that. So that is exactly what I want to type. Editor.document.get text selected text. So that is exactly what I need. And then now what I want to do is to replace this text with the response. And what we can just do to that, we don't even need to have a new variable, because the response is already in this variable named this.response text. But so what we just want to do now is down here where we are getting the response, we just want to say editor dot edit. We're going to say builder, and we're going to say builder dot replace. So we want to replace the selection, which is this selected text. We want to replace that. So if we come down here, they'll replace selected text, and we want to replace it with this dot response, with the whole response that we got. So paste that in there. Now this should work. let's go ahead and test it and see what we get. Let's hit refresh. We come back here. This is Tommy. We run that, and as you can see, it replaces that successfully. So if I just break this down a little bit, bring this here, as you can see, it tells us that that text that we selected is English, and then it gives us the translation in German. So that, works successfully. But as you can see, it doesn't translate the text that we selected. It translates this text right here. But that's not what we want to happen. What we want is the text that is being selected, we want that to be translated. So that is very easy. What we just need to do is to replace all of this text. So let's just cancel all of that and replace it with the variable named text. And note that you are replacing it with text, you are not replacing it with selected text, because this is the text from that selected text. So now let's refresh this and see what it gives us. So I from Europe, and let's say I select that and I run my command, and as you can see, it's the text that is English, and it says that hello us Europa. I hope I pronounced that well, but this is quite accurate and this is exactly what we want. So to this point, we've actually been able to get everything we want. And just for context, I'm going to leave all the code that we are using in this tutorial. I'm going to leave all the code in the link in the description below. There'll be a link there where you see source code, just so if you're stuck or you didn't have access to all the code, you can just easily check and correct whatever you want to correct. So this really works right now, and that is exactly what we need. So everything is working. Let's give it another shot, and let's just give it a more complex sentence. I am Tommy. I love Python way more than JavaScript. Who agrees? So now let's change all of this. English, and it says that quite perfect. That is exactly what we need now. So whoever uses this, let's say developer uses this, now can get the response in a JSON format and do whatever I want to it. And we can also just get just let's say we just want to get what language that is, or we just want to get the translation. You can also do that by just getting that from the JSON response. But for now, we just leave it to this JSON response and leave it to whatever the developer wants to use it for. So that works successfully, and that is the simple application VS Code extension that we built. The next thing we should do now is to publish this extension to the VS Code marketplace. So when we come to this extension and search anything, anyone can easily download our extension. So let's quit this and let's come back here. So let's close that. Before we publish our extension, let's just make sure we update the the commands, because right now, as you can see, let me close this. Right now, as you can see, okay, let's open it back. So F5. So right now, the name of the extension is what Easy Translator, right? But it's running it as Hello World. So we want this a user to be able to type Easy Translator, and then it should translate it instead of running Hello World, which is quite basic. So let's do that real quick. To do this, the first thing we need to do is very easy. Let's just press Command Shift F, not Command F. So Command Shift F. So we want to search for Hello World. Change that to Hello World, and we want to replace the Hello World with Easy Translator. Hit replace. Once you have that replaced, let's also search for Hello World and replace that with Easy translator. Replace. So once we have that replaced, let's run it. And now let's press that again. And let's search easy translator. And that should work. So let's actually write something, because it doesn't give us any translation now. If we open that up, yeah, it's blank because we didn't select anything. I am Tommy. Let's select that, and once we run it with easy translator now, boom, everything works successfully. So now this is working successfully. It does everything we want it to do. Let's go ahead and publish this on the extension marketplace. Now let's go ahead and publish our extension. So the first thing we need to do is to use this command line to install VSC. So we're basically going to follow this documentation, and publishing our extension is quite easy because they've provided this documentation that is quite simple and seamless to follow. So we're going to just install VSC by running this command, and we're going to come into, we can just install it right here, or we can install it in our terminal in our VS Code, but this is going to install right now, and we're just going to give that a few seconds to install. Boom. So that is installed, and that is what we need to do. Once we have that done, what we need to come here is, as you can see, it says we need to be in our extension folder. So if we come here and open up, let's say we open up a new terminal and we click on ls, let's just make sure we're in our extension folder. To verify, you should be in the folder that says extension.js basically. So now that we know that we're in there, right here it says we should package and publish, but we can't package or publish right now because we don't have a publisher, like a publisher profile. So what we need to do is to actually scroll down here where we see all of this. So where it says get a personal access token, what we want to do is to click on where it says create your own organization, and let's open that in a new tab. And we're going to come down here and we just want to sign into Azure DevOps. So that is where it gives us what we need to do. It's like a dashboard that we have to create a new profile. So right here I have a profile, so I'm not going to create a new profile, but what you just need to do is to click on new as organization and start creating the profile. Once you have that done, the next thing you need to do is to actually create a new token. So if you come down here, as you can see, it says once you are in your profile, what you just need to do is to create a new token. So we're going to come back here, and right here where we have this, I'm just going to create a new token actually. So personal access token, and I have one right now, but I'm going to create another one, and I'm just going to name this token test token. Let's say translator text token, and it's going to be part of this organization, but we want it to access all organizations. So you have to click on this, if not it's not going to work. So once you have that done, you can set this to anything you want, 30 days, 60 days, it doesn't really matter. And you want to make sure this says custom defined, and you want to come down to show all scopes, and you want to go down to where you see marketplace, and right here where we have marketplace, just click on manage. So once you have manage, then click create. So since you have that, basically it's saying that we have to copy this token because it's not going to show us it again. So let's just make sure we have that copied. Come into our VS Code and let's just paste that somewhere here as a comment. We're not going to publish this, but just make sure you have that somewhere. Once you have that, you can close this now, and we can come back here when we have the token. And what it just says we should do now is to log in. So we're going to say VSC login. I'm going to come here and say login. So it's missing the publisher. So basically what we want to do now is to make sure that we log in with our publisher name. So basically what we just want to do is to go into this management page, and in this management page we should see our publisher. So you can click here to create a new publisher, and it's very self-explanatory. You just need to do to have a publisher name. It can be Tommy Togho. So if you have space, it's just gonna remove the space there, and whatever you want to put basically, and you can just do all of that and then create. So I already have one created, and I'm just going to use this. So we're going to copy the ID, not the main name, just the ID, and we're going to use that in here to log in. So where we say VSC login, we paste the publisher. So if I come here and click paste, so now it says it's already known because I am already logged in. So do I want to overwrite it? Yes, I want to overwrite it. Basically, I want to log in again. So now it's asking for the access token which we copied. So this access token now is what we need. I'm gonna just cut that out, and then we paste it, and it says the verification has been successful basically. So once you have that done, you are good to go. And the next thing you need to do if you come here is to just publish that package. So what you can just do is just type VSCA publish. So just run that. So it says a field is missing. If we come back in package.json, we should actually have the publisher name right here. So we need to say publisher, and we're just going to paste in the publisher ID, this, and we save that. So let's say no, and let's publish that again. Yes. So it says the extension ID already exists. Let's try to just change it. Let's say, is it translator plugin? Let's see if that works. Let's publish again. Yes. So done. Now that is published successfully. If we come back in here and we hit refresh, it is publishing. As you can see, it's verifying. It takes a while to verify, and I'm gonna be back when it's done verifying. So as you can see right here, it has successfully been published. Now let's go into VS Code and see if we can get it from the extension tab. So we come in here and we come to the extension tab. So let's just type easy translator plugin. So as you can see, it shows that translator plugin, and we can just come here and install it. Everything works successfully. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you understood everything we did in this video. If you did, please don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe. So this is the extension we built, and everything works successfully up to this point. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.